Okay, so a major new executive order on the Second Amendment just dropped. But what does it really do, beyond the headlines? Well, in this explainer, we're going to cut through the noise and go straight to the text to find out.
So let's start right at the top. The official title itself tells you a whole lot: protecting Second Amendment rights. This isn't just some formal label. It's basically the mission statement. It frames the entire purpose of the order before you even read the first sentence.
And that really is the key question, isn't it? What actions does this order actually set in motion? And just as important, what are its limits? To figure that out, we have to go inside the document itself. So let's start with the basics.
All right, before we dive into the what and the why, let's just quickly get our bearings with the key facts so we're all on the same page.
So what we're looking at is Executive Order 14206. It was signed by President Trump on February 7, 2025. Now, that publication date 5 days later is really important. When it gets published in the Federal Register, that's the moment it becomes an official, binding directive for all federal agencies.
Pretty much every executive order kicks off by laying out its core philosophy. So, let's turn to Section 1 to get the official why behind this whole thing.
The order opens with a really powerful declaration. It calls the Second Amendment an indispensable safeguard of security and liberty. Now, that language matters. It's elevating this right from just another freedom to really a foundational pillar of the entire American system.
And it goes on to say that because this right is so foundational, it must not be infringed. So really, this whole first section is about setting the stage. It's establishing the administration's viewpoint and creating the philosophical justification for the actions that are about to come.
So with that justification in place, let's get to Section 2. This is the heart of the directive. This is what the order actually commands the government to do.
The core of the order is a pretty straightforward three-step command given to the Attorney General. First, examine all the actions federal agencies are currently taking. Second, assess whether any of those actions infringe on Second Amendment rights. And third, present a proposed plan of action to the President.
And here's where you really see the sense of urgency. The Attorney General is given just 30 days to get all of this done. The massive review and the plan. That's a super tight deadline.
But the order doesn't just say go figure it out. It gets very specific. It actually gives the Attorney General a detailed checklist for what this review needs to cover.
First off, the review is laser-focused on a very specific 4-year window, from January 2021 to January 2025. And it's casting a really wide net, looking at rules from the DOJ and the ATF, and even including reports from the White House Office of Gun Violence Prevention.
Now, check out the specific language here because it's pulled directly from the order. The phrase so-called is a very deliberate choice. It signals a whole lot of skepticism and pretty much puts a giant bullseye on this particular policy for the review.
And the checklist doesn't just stop with policies. It also includes the government's legal arguments in current lawsuits, the way agencies classify different firearms and ammunition, and even the nitty-gritty of how firearms-related applications are processed. This thing is meant to be broad and deep.
Okay, so finally, let's get to the fine print. Sections 3 and 4 of the order are really important because they explain what happens next and also what this order can't do.
The order wraps up with a section called General Provisions. Now, this might sound like boring legal stuff, but it's actually crucial. This is the part that sets the legal boundaries and clarifies the order's real-world power.
And this is key to understanding the order's immediate impact. It says right in the text that it doesn't change the legal authority of any agency or mess with the budget. And on the flip side, it also makes it clear that it doesn't create any new legal rights for anyone or give them a new reason to sue the government.
So what that all boils down to is this. You should think of this executive order as the starting gun, not the finish line. Its main job is just to kick off a review and demand a plan. By itself, it doesn't actually change a single existing law.
And that, of course, leaves us with the biggest question of all. The order starts a 30-day clock on this huge government review. But the real story here isn't the order itself. It's what will be in that plan of action it demands. And for that, well, we're all just going to have to wait and see.